So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the beginning of Starladder America Day 3 now. We've got 4 games coming up. CNB versus eHug will be game number 1. They already did the draft since we're so far behind. So we are in AP, and we can hop right into this game, I believe.
Yep, sounds good. Well, no draft for you guys, but you can see the picks and things are underway. CNB, the team from recently sponsored from Brazil. eHug, probably a bit more well-known, the North American team. A Tier 2 team still, nonetheless. They're a sponsored team, but, I mean, Fury said himself in his interview, they're pretty much, like, they're the Tier 2 of North America. I mean, they're not really... I think a lot of people kind of look at this team as, like, a big name in North America after the Big 3, but to me, they're not really that far ahead of some of these other American teams like Osiris, who we've seen actually play some pretty good Dota.
Yeah, for sure. And here we can just take a glance at the standings. Both CNB and eHug are 0-2 right now, or 0-2.
eHug had one loss to EG, though. I can't remember who their other loss was.
I don't remember either, but
was it even to Osiris, I want to say? Maybe?
I can't recall off the top of my head.
Okay.
But no, you're certainly right. I know at least one of them was against EG, so that's kind of almost like your quote expected loss, their highest seeded team versus one of the lower seeded teams.
Oh man, someone actually guessed right. Sigma at 74 minutes. Sorry to sidetrack.
Yeah, sidetrack gods he's out of mythical here, poor guy.
It looks like some guys guessed it.
Yeah, look at this CNB doing this cheeky little Venomancer Shadow Fiend strat where you have Roche take it down and you get some easy denies. So Shadow Fiend will start off with a couple of Necromastery Souls stored up.
Yep. This helps a lot.
A few times. It helps the Shadow Fiend, but it holds back the Veno a little bit. You normally don't want to get Plague Ward level 1, so it's not without its cost.
Yeah, well, no, you normally don't, that's right, but it helps out the Shadow Fiend so much at mid lane, and as a support, it's like, well, you can pull, you can do a lot of things to sort of catch up, get a few levels, so it's definitely well worth it, I would say, at the same time.
I agree.
Like, SF is plus 15 damage suddenly. He's not going to get much... Actually, they have the Bane there doing the block for him.
Oh.
If this is all this strategy. I have a feeling we're going to see them stack neutrals for days, and it's like a 4 protect 1 almost with Shadow Fiend. Well, I guess they've got the Ember Spirit too, but this is...
So let's introduce our lineups here. We can talk about the draft a little bit, assuming not too many kills come out early on. On the dire side, we've got CNB, the team hailing from Brazil. Tavo in the off lane playing on the Bat Rider. Klotz22 on the Shadow Fiend in the solo mid role. And up top, it will be a 4DR Heart F Position 1 Ember Spirit. He'll be supported by Beguina here on the Venomancer. And that one last support, where is he hiding? The Bane? Oh, there he goes. Wrapping around mid. That is Ned.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll let you introduce the other team as well as I...
You got it,
get my tweets and social media going underway.
You get those tweets.
We have no time, man. I gotta let people know Starladder America's going on. We got some American Dota for once.
It's true. So we've got Team eHug, the North American team that y'all know a little bit better, I think, than CNB, probably the fan favorites coming into this match. I'm a Sheep Sucks will be on the Ancient Apparition, slated for the bottom lane. They will have Jigglebilly, the newest addition to their team, on the Position 1 Lycan down here in the safe lane. They'll have Pandago supporting on the Vengeful Spirit, also in the bottom lane. There will be a stand-in for eHug, and that is Justin playing in the stead of Ryu Borez in that mid-role, playing on the Tinker, and up top it will be Cakes, playing a little bit of the off-lane Fairy Dragon Puck.
Alrighty, well, I'm interested to see how things go here. I saw Ryu Borez tweet that he was back home with his family, so I imagine just a temporary holiday after playing a few tournaments, catch with the family, then go back to the team house in New York. But yeah, I'm not too sure about who Justin is, so I'm not really familiar with this guy. But
yeah, I don't know Justin. I always love it when people are tagged up with just names. Like I love that CNB have somebody just named Ned. Hey Ned, just something about it is there's so many people with really epic, like long, like even Zyori is kind of a try-hard name compared to something like just Ned.
Justin, Ned, yeah.
Justin, Ned, Bill. What if Pyrian Flax's name was just Ted?
That'd be quite suitable. I don't know.
Oh man. Well. So pretty quiet early game here. Jigglebilly on the Position 1 Lycan. Obviously, they will be able to transition successful team fights into a bit of early game pushing. He did go an early Basilius, Stout Shield, and some Tango. So we'll probably be doing standard Lycan stuff, i.e. an early Vlad's into Medallion, and be looking for an opportunity to smoke into the Roche pit. Yep. Probably around that 10-15 minute window, depending on how well he farms.
Alrighty, well, yeah, I think the lanes and the drafts, I think CNB have the more unconventional draft, just with the way they're going to be playing around the Shadow Fiend as well as Ember Spirit, so we'll have to see how it works having both these kind of two SF's more like your carry, whereas Ember Spirit can go for a more early game aggressive build with the phased drums, but he can also play the way with the high damage output with the Battle Furies, with the Desolator, the crits, so very flexible with what you can do with Ember Spirit. But I imagine we see him look to rotate around the map once he gets, a few, maybe like around the level 7 with a max Flame Guard plus his Fire Remnant to engage with.
Yep, definitely agree on that front. It does appear that Jiggle Billy is kind of off to the races in farm. He is 23 and 11, leading the last hit chart right now. Ember Spirit not too far behind, 19 and 8. It looks like the mid matchup is just about dead even as well. Tinker 18 and 4, and Shadow Fiend on the charts he's 19 and 10, but at least 6 of those denies were from the Venom Ward. So if you take that into account, it's dead even here in the mid lane.
SF's doing at the same time. Dead even for SF is not too bad, and Tinker's been doing well. He's actually just started stacking the Ancients here in between. He's actually gone for 2 laser, 2 heat-seeking missiles, which is not a conventional build for mid lane. I don't really agree with this unless you're gonna get a kill out of it, or if you're gonna go 4-4. If you're going laser rocket, you need to go like a full 4-4 laser rocket. He's going back for the march now, and these couple extra points, maybe it catches the SF by surprise when a gank comes in, but for the most part, like getting that second point in laser doesn't really add a whole lot.
Yeah, you're already at 100% blind, and it's just a straight damage increase. It also increases the mana cost as well, so you're almost reducing the utility of it a little bit because you use it for the miss rate. It's not about the damage as much unless you're going for, like you said, the 4-4-0 build where it's just all about the burst damage. So I agree. A little bit of an interesting choice from the Tinker. We'll see what he grabs at level 6. He will continue to stack the Ancients here. I at least like that he is stacking the Ancients. That is one thing that pretty much a necessity for Tinker, I think, in this meta.
And it's great because you can stack the Ancients, then you go check the rune when it's every 2 minutes. At 5 minutes, you don't need to check the rune, but next time he stacks it, he'll stack it, check the rune, and then come back to mid lane. So he's had a good start, but he's going to have all this Ancient stacks, but not many points in March of the Machine. I imagine he gets a second point now.
Yeah, so a 2-2-2.
You can't kill the Ancients until you have rearm as well, is the other problem. Like this is where you normally see like a 1-1, like 1-1-4 with your ulti, or like even like level 3 March with plus rearm, you can kill the Ancients with a Soul Ring. But
so Shadow Fiend will move into the jungle. He'll help Bat Rider clear out these mud golems. Kind of a mutual victory there, as Bat Rider doesn't kill them too easily, and Shadow Fiend kills them very easily. But with Bat Rider rotating early on into the jungle, this will make for a very easy tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. eHug putting a lot of pressure on. They've got the Vengeful Spirit, and actually no points in the Vengeance Aura. I was going to say that really helps in pushing, but going for level 3 second point in Wave of Terror for that minus armor.
Yeah,
that's okay. They don't need it.
It's the extra minus armor. It's actually the second point in stun gives you like 0.1 stun. The stun the scaling is not great as far as stun duration.
Justin almost dies in the mid lane. That was really close. He took a Shadow Ray. I mean, he was down to like single-digit HP as he was bottled, and then he sipped up the bottle. So anyway, on with the Vengeful Spirit analysis.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the way the stun scales. It increases a lot the damage, but not the actual stun duration. They're looking for a kill mid lane. They've got a Sentry Ward, but yeah, they weren't going to kill off. I don't think they were going to kill SF regardless, because Laser, Rocket, just both level 2, not going to be quite enough damage.
Yeah, and that's the problem with this Tinker build. You need the March to clear the Ancients, and sort of like you were talking about, if you're going to go this Laser Heat-Seeking build, you pretty much need to commit to it, or those second points don't become value points.
Venge just went for a solo smoke, but he accidentally smoked the Tinker with him, so CNB could have well noticed it since Tinker was sitting mid, went invis with smoke, then popped out, but Ward goes down. Vengeful Spirit wants to just get some vision of this neutral stacking going on. It's not stacked at the moment, and I guess it was just one of those fluff and stuff, smoke to pop down an Observer Ward kind of smokes.
Yep. Fluff and stuff smoke. I like that. What do you think about Lycan right now, Gods? Do you like the hero?
Good,
what percentile would you rate him in terms just overall that broad stroke number?
He's pretty top tier, I'd say.
Top tier, really?
Yeah.
Like 80%. Is he Kale tier?
What's your obsession? What's everyone's obsession with Kale? I don't.
Kale? It's a superfood, man. There's there's some number that compares like the amount of calories with the amount of nutrients, and kale is like amazingly high in the amount of nutrients it gives you. It has some other like rare nutrients as well that like your average leafy greens don't give you. So if there was like one thing that you needed to eat and be really healthy, kale is like the ideal health food.
We don't have much kale at our house, I don't think.
Yeah, well, you better step up your kale intake, man.
All right.
So I mean, is he like that? Is he that good? I think Lycan's okay. I mean, I don't know.
He's definitely like worth picking in the first pick stage. So to me, like any hero that's
he's first pick, first ban material.
Yeah, maybe the first ban's debatable. I mean, any hero is kind of debatable as like a must first ban, but I think he's worth banning against some teams, and I think he's like you can fit him as a first pick into a lot of lineups. So
he's pretty good. He's one of these heroes that I think he often looks stronger than he is when he has a lot of room, and kind of like this game where he's just been in free farm heaven. He knocked down that tower early on. Jiggle Billy's still the last hit leader, #1 on net worth by a good 500 gold here at the 8.5-minute mark. And he's probably going to get another free tower right now.
Yeah.
This makes Lycan look unbelievably powerful. That's because they haven't done anything to check him or pressure him.
it's hard to do so. Like going offensive trialing never really. You can't just suddenly say, "Hey, let's offensive trialing" just because you think you can. First blood finally
first
comes.
blood,
10 minutes in.
Wow, Shadow Fiend grabs it too, so that's good news for CNB.
Yeah, they're 2 carries both rotating, and we're going to be seeing some Battle Fury Ember Spirit here.
Interesting.
That is always interesting.
Sometimes it works well, and other times it just doesn't work well at all. So we'll see what he transitions into. If it will be a multiple Battle Fury build, or if it'll be just a casual Battle Fury for farming, and then into like a Desolator crit, a more conventional carry style. It's really hard to say how Ember Spirits are going to build because he's still reasonably new, and I'm not sure how far DR like to play him.
Tinker's got his travels. He cleared the Ancient stack by the look. Yeah, it's been cleared. So he's got a 9-minute Boots of Travel Soul Ring. This is ideal. Like this is as good as you can really get for a Tinker.
Yeah, if you can get Soul Ring BOTs before 10 minutes, you're in great shape.
Yeah, generally speaking, like if your Ancients aren't blocked, you can almost always do this. But like this is good timing, considering he has no kills. Isn't being like he's farming well. Not
they did also
farming,
knock down 2 towers before 10 minutes as well.
Yeah, actually that's a good point. The towers is what really got him there.
Yeah, so that did give him a little boost. I mean, he was farming okay in lane, but it wasn't absolutely insane shutting down the Shadow Fiend. It was a break even.
Shadow Fiend's a good 20 last hits ahead of him. A lot of that's neutral, so it's kind of really hard to directly compare without looking at net worth. And net worth is where Tinker is just a couple hundred behind, but that's like you say with the tower gold. So SF is farming a bit better than Tinker.
Yeah, and Jiggle Billy having some fun here with Tavo as they clear out some neutrals in the Radiant jungle. But anyway, back to the point of Lycan before that first blood came out. You're right, and this is a game where we didn't get to see the draft. We don't know if Lycan was a 5th pick with that kind of like wild card, or if this was a first pick Lycan.
I would say with like 80% certainty, this would have been a first 2 picks Lycan. They would have got Lycan and probably AA as their first 2 picks.
Yeah. That's a
maybe not guess. AA's not a we see AA actually get picked up 4th and 5th a lot lately, so it's not guaranteed. I don't know about the AA, but I'd say Lycan is almost definitely first pick here.
Yeah, and you're probably right. The point that I was going to make is to sort of counteract what you said about how you can't just aggro try because, oh, look, there's a Lycan. Let's just go aggressive in the off lane. But I think Lycan's just a hero that you need to kind of draft around. Like, he's just not someone that you can just leave to free farm to his own devices and expect to have a good time. Yeah. Which is true for a lot of carries, but Lycan in particular, because if he gets that momentum, he will not only carry hard in team fights, but he will cut down your towers way faster than a traditional carry like an anti-mage or a Morph.
And he's going straight for that Necro 3, not even stopping by the medallion to help him Roche. So he just says, hey, look, I'm on the Radiant side. If we get far enough ahead, he can take Roshan with or without a medallion, and just if he gets the space he needs. So he wants the Necro book, which is just going to give him the ability to push down these lanes so incredibly fast. And
I also really like the idea of drafting a Clockwork to try and deal with Lycan. Not necessarily for the cogs, but more because of the Rocket Flare. You know Lycan's a hero that wants to sneak into Roche, and with that Rocket Flare, you can just keep scouting it out. You know when he's in there.
Stopping him Roshing doesn't really counter the hero. That's like this is a game where like whether Lycan kills Roshan in the next 5 minutes or not doesn't really affect the overall strategy. So I would just slightly disagree in that I don't think scouting Roshan is the problem with Lycan. I think Lycan's strong for other reasons.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It's not just about Roshan, but that is something. It's just a tool to stop him from getting out of control. One way to let Lycan get out of control is just to give him a free uncontested Roche at 11 minutes. And we see a lot of teams that just, oh, Lycan's off the map. Well,
the other problem is it's actually hard to, especially Lycan on Dire side, even if you know he's Roshing, it's hard to stop it, because you can't just stop everything with lots of heroes and go deal with them. We're going to see Jigglebee at bottom game gripped up, there's a lot of races and damage coming through. He's going to go down. That's a nice smoke gank there.
Yep.
That's how you need to be ganking him, and that was a well-played, well-executed gank.
There's a Shadow Blade up on Shadow Fiend as well. So well done by CNB. They catch the Lycan off guard. And like you said, a much-needed kill as he was starting to farm a bit, still farming a bit out of control, but that'll at least harbor some of that momentum.
SF's top of the net worth now by a good margin after that kill, so
yeah,
that was just a normal kill streak that he ended. But there's a big Ancient stack, which I imagine is also for your Shadow Fiend, so Shadow Fiend, he'll pressure this bottom lane. Don't see him getting this tier 1 tower, but he'll fall back, maybe take the Ancients.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Radiant's
Lycan
bottom
is...
tower
It's
is
true,
under
and maybe I'm just wrong. Merlini is sort of on a similar page as you, that he's hard to shut down because
Yeah.
he pushes well, he can carry well, he does Roche well, and if you shut any of those 3 aspects down, he still has the other 2 that can come back and bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
Even if he's not farming that well, and by 25 minutes he just gets a Vlad's Necronomicon, and he can still rat Dota really effectively with a little bit of farm.
Yeah.
So, on that front, Lycan is definitely a valuable pick.
And he fits nicely in these like 2-3 core lineups. Like you've got the Tinker there as well to just
Yeah.
provide a lot of space for the Lycan, and even Puck to some extent. Once we get a blink on Cakes, we'll add quite a nice amount of damage output. So this kind of metagame, I think it's just the current like trends and way teams are playing really suits Lycan a lot.
That's a fair point. I would definitely agree with that. I just look at him as weak in the laning phase as well. I think it's sort of like Storm Spirit. You need to shut him down early. But maybe not.
The way almost all like at least most Lycans are going is this 4-1-1 build where you get a very early point in Howl and plus 20 damage
It's a lot.
is that's better than level 1 Lunar Blessing, like the Lunar Aura, which gives all your heroes like plus 14, I think it is. So
Yeah.
if you
16.
and this basically means hey, you're not going to have it all the time, but you just use it when there's an engagement in a tri-lane versus tri-lane.
Yeah.
Plus 20 damage across the board is pretty solid.
That's a fair point.
And
Maybe
it
I'm
helps
just
out. It helps out
undervaluing
your
Lycan.
mid hero. It helps out your other solo hero. It helps out all of your lanes. So it's actually a really useful skill. Oh, the Centaur stop! He blinked into it. He gets the lasso
Wow.
off anyways. It's gonna be a Fiend's Grip as well. They need some
See
more
you,
damage
Lycan.
output.
Radiant's top
He's
tower
on
this is
top
gonna
of
be-
the fire.
This is
It's
gonna be
gonna
close. Yeah, I think they'll get
They'll
it.
have enough.
bottom
Yeah.
tower
Just.
is under attack.
Just barely.
Casted the Necro books before he died.
Still another kill onto Lycan, though. Not too bad, and that created some space up top for Shadow Fiend with the double damage rune on to take out that top tier 1 tower. So CNB will take a 3-0 lead here at the 15-minute mark, and Shadow Fiend's farm just continues to impress. He's now about 1,200 up on that Tinker.
Radiant's
This SF
top
is
tower
pretty
under
massive,
attack.
really, but it's one of those things where like eHug can still stall towards the late game. Tinker's just great at kind of like playing from behind, but and we look towards Ember Spirit, who's also getting farmed. He's got his first Battle Fury up, so he's behind the Tinker, behind the Lycan, but Ember Spirit just needs a couple Battle Furies, a crit, and well, he's good to go. So if this game drags, like it is going to be pushing into either team's hard. If you're CNB trying to push into a Tinker is a miserable time. If you're eHug trying to push into an Ember Spirit, you don't have fun either. So
Yeah, and even Venno. Venno's very good for turtling up with all those Plague Wards.
yeah.
Not the biggest of deals. Certainly not on par with March of the Machine, but still just not the easiest hero to push into. So you're right. This could be another one of these long games if it ends up being stalemated out. Now, Ancient Apparition did go ahead and grab a Hand of Midas here, which I really like. I think AA is a hero that does well with like experience in particular. If you can get that level 3 Ice Blast, and of course if you can farm the Ag Scepter, that is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
So I like the choice here, especially since this game seems to be very, very slow and focused around farm.
Well, I mean, no kills from the eHug side. I guess until Puck gets, well, Puck has a blink now. They can kind of start looking to set stuff up, and I think that's really been the downfall of this eHug side. They've got such a strong support duo in Vengeful Spirit plus AA, with the Chilling Touch now maxed out. Like this is level 4 Chilling Touch, and they haven't got a kill in 16 minutes. That's where I feel eHug have just not had a good early game at all. Like this SF has just been allowed to free farm. They should have been ganking him
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah, and you really don't want to take Lycan in an aggro tri-lane, but when you have the Lycan mixed with a Vengeful Aura and then mixed with the Chilling Touch from Ancient Apparition, I feel like you can almost get away with it. Like, the Ember Spirit isn't going to be able to trade right clicks with Howl and Chilling Touch.
It's not really ideal, I guess, because then, like, you're...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we've seen that lane combo, like, in a tri-lane before, and it's disgusting. I mean, we've seen it only when Lycan is in the defensive and it's an aggro tri, so that does give them a little bit of an edge, to be fair,
Yeah.
but still...
it's hard because Lycan's a melee carry, and sure, Ember Spirit's melee, but he's not really... You don't really play him as a melee carry just because of he's got a range initiation with Sleight of Fist.
Right.
He's got a disable, and he's also got, like, a defensive skill in Flame Guard. Lycan's got no defensive skills. He's got...
Yeah.
He doesn't really offer much in a tri-lane versus tri-lane. In a tri-lane versus solo hero, he can do okay because he gets like the right clicks with a VS initiation.
Exactly. I think it's only worthwhile if you have him paired with an Ancient Apparition and then another aggressive tri-lane hero
Yeah.
like Vengeful Spirit that gives you that extra damage early on, that value point in Aura, and then the stun as well. It still is an absurd amount of damage, even though he's not traditionally a good tri-lane hero. I think only in that rare scenario. And if you don't get kills early on, it's not that it's wasted, but there's a little bit of wasted potential there with like how much damage Chilling Touch does at like level 2, level 3.
Lycan's also very weak if he doesn't get that like 4 or 5 minute Vlads, which he gets from the safe lane farm. Like if Lycan's not a good play from behind here, and if you do like an offensive trial, you need a carry that can get by with like having struggling on farm, which isn't really Lycan, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm glad we can disagree about Lycan gods. It's keeping this interesting because there is not too much to comment on in this game, to be perfectly frank.
Goes into the roach, but he's got Shadowblade BKB 18 minutes in. This guy's just...
And a medallion up on Venom from the high ground, so that'll make this a lot easier for him.
Yep.
But this will be a solo roach. This is really nice for CNB. They are dire, so they have the advantage, but stopping Lycan from getting roach is... I mean, it's just huge, and Shadow Fiend gets that solo experience... most of the experience with Venomancer nearby. He now has a BKB complete to go with that Aegis.
Yeah, oh, Ice Blast at top lane. Cakes went for a Dream Call and whiffs it.
Yep.
The blink out from bat.
Yeah, Cakes is... I don't want to fire too many shots, but he has not been playing up to par recently.
eHug, when they kind of first broke into the scene, like back when they were like Pretty Boy Swag and stuff, and winning the North American qualifier for Full Sail, winning Full Sail. They won Full Sail. That's right. I mean, I was there. I should know.
You were there. I didn't watch it. I was.
Yeah. They won Full Sail.
Yeah.
That's right. They won Full Sail during that tournament. They were really impressive, and then they went on to even play like the EG Liquids and had some really good results. And even the games they lost, they looked pretty solid. But this last month or so, they're in a huge slump, or either they were in the honeymoon phase, or suddenly things that just they're slumping, because lately they've just looked very unimpressive. And that's where I feel teams like CNB, teams like Revenge, teams like Osiris are on par with them, and in some cases maybe even starting to overtake eHug. I think eHug at this point. Sure, they're a sponsored team, but they're playing some just very mediocre Dota in general.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Just sort of across the board, their drafting hasn't been that bad. Jigglebilly has been a surprising addition to their team, a surprisingly good addition. I don't mean that to imply that Jigglebilly isn't good, but he's just sort of an unproven player. He doesn't have a long competitive experience. He's not one of these, like... It's not like a Misery or like someone.
I think he's their best player, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Hands down, he's their best player.
That's what's surprising about it. He's like this ex-Han trash.
Bottom lane.
Really trolly streamer. Right. Yeah, Justin. He's in a little bit of trouble. There will be another sleight of fist up. That'll be more than enough to secure the kill. Now will they be able to turn it around? Nope. He'll just fire Remnant far away. So, nice kill on the Tinker. That will make it 4-0. And yeah, there's the Dream Coil coming out.
He wants to go for this kill, but he's silent, so he can't get off the lasso. He should have just ran there. I think he would have been okay if he just went off the map on the top, on the left side of the map. But he's like, oh, I can go back in, get a lasso, and get a kill. But
good silence from Cakes.
Yeah. Well, that was more the, I think, cocky play from the bat right now. We're going to see, Lycan go in mid lane. He gets out of the SF ulti for the most part. Snipes the courier.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Nice use of the Necronomicon unit. So eHug will get their first kill on the board as they finish off the Bat Rider.
First kill, wow. And they kill that Bat Rider kind of hand-fed to them.
Yeah. So now this tier 1 tower in the mid will start taking some damage. A ultimate will connect with actually just the Shadow Fiend. Very close on hitting the Ember as well as the Veno, but only Clots. He still has the Aegis, so he's really not too concerned right now. Yep. Also has the Helm of the Dominator, so he's got plenty of sustain.
The tempo of this game favors CNB so much. They've got a late game Shadow Fiend, a late game Ember Spirit, and this is where eHug had to apply a lot more pressure the first 20 minutes of the game. They should be looking at 10 plus kills, lots of towers down, VS and AA roaming with the puck, bringing in Tinker at towards the end. Like you find a gank, Tinker TPs in to help secure the kills, and they just Tinker has been involved in none of these kills. The only kill came from a puck with an AA Ice Blast. Like this is just a very uninvolved Tinker, Vengeful Spirit, and AA.
Yeah, and they just won't win the farm war. It was a really smart choice from Ember Spirit to grab Black King Bar here. Always a good item on Ember, but in this game,
Deso.
Yeah, he went Deso next. So I like that he's just transitioning into that kind of more classic carry role and utilizing all that farm at his disposal. Shadow Fiend, 200 CS at 22 minutes. That's pretty good. Pretty impressive.
He's almost 10 last hits a minute, more or less.
That's
slightly under.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Jigglebilly is at 190, so he's not trailing by too much. But they've both been farming well. I think it just benefits CNB so much more that it's
going to be an interesting game, because this is going to be another game that drags really late here, because like ending a game and pushing versus a Tinker is so tricky to do. And once Tinker gets his Hex up, which Tinker's farming really well, he's farming better than the Lycan. Once Tinker has a Hex, like you can actually go for these solo kills. Like you've got Blink Initiation with a Hex, he can kill a lot of these heroes on the map. And then I imagine after the Hex, he goes for the Dagon 5 build, just for the damage output.
Yeah, and he's rather close to the sheep. It's, let's see, maybe about 800 gold or so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's farming really well.
Yep. And there will be a smoke from CNB as they rotate down bottom. They won't find anyone. Tinker ports out with plenty of time to spare. Shadow Fiend still hasn't made much item progression following that Helm of the Dominator, but sitting on 2,000, he may just go straight into a Satanic, or could go for a Butterfly coming up next. Either or, well, would be quite scary. He will just solo this tower down bottom and add a little bit more gold to the old purse.
Well,
That's about it, yeah.
this SF is, he's going to be scary regardless, but like, I'm wondering, like, he doesn't match up the best against a Tinker, because he's never going to really get to, like, right-click a Tinker. He's always going to be getting hexed, blinked away from, so he's going to have to rely on his teammates to lock down heroes, which is your Bane and your Batrider. So I think Batrider is going to be a big key hero in this match.
And even the supports on both sides, but CNB in particular, because of that tower advantage. No, actually, there isn't a tower advantage. Their supports are just doing slightly better.
Looks like Vener's dead.
Ooh, yep.
To pay for this one, there's a lasso that immediately gets cancelled by the swap, but Sleight of Fist. Damage
So much
output from the Ember Spirit. That Deso Battle Fury.
Dude, he cut through those supports so fast.
And
Ugh.
I mean, I was criticizing a bit earlier the Ventral Spirit AA and Puck not getting kills, but this is a Batrider with Blink 4 stuff. Until those two kills there, he only had 1 assist, no kill. So 22 minutes in, Batrider with just 1 kill involvement with a Blink Dagger plus 4 stuff. Like, even with just a Blink, you should be getting assists and kills. So neither team really looking to play at all aggressive.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend will lose his Aegis here as it does expire, but it appears he will go straight into Butterfly. Eagle Song now in the inventory.
Butterfly Satanic is fairly standard stuff, and he's going to see a pick up on the Bane there with the help of the Necro 3 minions.
Yeah, not bad. One of those, not a huge
bash all
kill.
the tower now. And
Not a huge kill, but not bad either. And, ooh, the Glyph will come out. Getting shift done. He wants to deny, but that'll be hard.
Unlikely, but
Noble effort. Oh, pardon me. Tinker gets picked off.
Ember Spirit matches up well against Tinker.
Yeah.
The Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains when he blinks out, and you can use the Fire Remnant for trying to find the Tinker as well. So it looks like he had to use all his mana to get the kill, but hey, you get the kill, it's worth it.
Yeah, that was my bad. But anyway, before those kills came out, I was going to say that the supports on CNB are doing reasonably well in terms of farm. There's a mech up on the Venomancer, and Bane already has his Arcane Boots now in Earnest Shadows, and did just pick up a gem following that death. Down bottom, Cakes will be in some trouble. He'll get lassoed, gets pulled right into the Shadow Fiend. He will phase shift to buy himself some time, but no blink as he is stuck on top of the fire. Well done, and that was kind of a...
I think eHug are in a lot of trouble now.
Yeah.
Lycan, he went for this Necro 3 build, which is like, it's great if you're the ones kind of snowballing, taking control of the game, which they could have been with their strong ganking lineup, with the AA Vengeful Spirit Puck, but they haven't really done it. So this is almost like a moment where he's thinking, oh, I should just gone for a BKB Assault Crest Basher kind of build, because this Necro 3 is not really given him a whole lot since they're not applying enough pressure.
Yeah, now this bottom tier 2 will take some heavy pressure as well. March of the Machine in kind of an awkward position there. Yeah, by the time it gets to this creep wave, Shadow Fiend has already got enough to take out this tower. And down she goes. Add another one to the board. Total tower count is actually dead even now, 4 apiece. But Shadow Fiend, he's picked up at least 2, if not 3, the last hits on those towers.
Well, it does get an Aghanim Scepter. So that's with the level 11, this is a nice little item pickup. So it's not all over for eHug, but the way they're playing just doesn't really give much hope, in my eyes, for a comeback. That's the thing here. Like, I looking just at the raw heroes and the items they have, I'd say, okay, it's kind of even, but eHug are just not really taking advantage of any opportunities right now.
Yeah, it's not over yet, but I think this Ember Spirit is really what's scary. He's got the Desolator, now has an Ultimate Orb. He is 4-0-1, level 17.
This is going to be a Lincoln's, I'm guessing, just to deal with the Tinker Hex initiation.
Yep, I think so as well. BOT is now up on the Batrider. They're just farming a lot more effectively. They're 2 carries. They have the farm where it matters. Shadow Fiend is also 3-0-0. Now has a Butterfly up. It's also that CNB are just, in this static farm fest, they're just straight winning. They've got a 5,000 gold lead, 10,000 experience lead, and now they'll grab
another
next Roche. So it's not even that eHug have a bad draft as much as CNB are just making better use of the map and all the farm that it holds. There will be a scout. Wave of Terror comes out. to see if they're scouting or if they're doing Roche, and Cakes will go ahead and throw the Dream Coil, but he'll just get turned around on. They won't get in time to snipe the Aegis or anything like that. Cakes will be the first to fall. Lasso on the Tinker. Venomancer does get picked, but at what cost right here? It will be a 2 for 4 at the very least, and it looks like a 2 for 5. Ancient Apparition, he's on the back foot.
Oh man, he's going to go down as well. Down to the Slider Fist. This is looking really ugly. The Batrider may go down to the A ultimate. He does shatter.
Oh,
Drops a gem as well.
that's all right.
And that SFB, the first time we've seen the SFBKB used, 28 minutes in, he got this item ages ago, but combining that with the Veno ulti actually made a big difference in that fight. Everyone got down really low as a result, and Tinker couldn't use his Blink Dagger at all, so
Yep.
actually Veno turning out to be a pretty useful support in these team fights.
Also, the mech made a difference there. There is no mech on the raid. This has been a day of just very little mechanism used.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of teams opt to not get it, and now
CNB, high ground. With the
Yep.
Deso, with the right clicks from the SF, this is...
easy tier 3.
I think they're going to back off now.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll
play
be able to
safe.
grab racks. Puck will DC, so we'll have a moment here to pause. Yeah, they don't need to force the issue
Yeah.
here. I mean,
SF is fine. Their swap isn't in range.
and I mean, all of a sudden, we had an even game for so long now. Just look at that goal graph. Nosedive in favor of CNB. 10,000 and about 20,000 experience.
Okay.
I really fear for eHug at this point, gods. I don't know.
Lincoln's is up on your Ember Spirit as well, so picking him off is going to be tricky. I think, Tinker has his Hex, but the problem is to break the Lincolns, you have to use Laser, which has a cast time, so he can always fire Remnant out. As soon as he sees you blink Laser, he fire Remnants out before you even cast Hex, generally speaking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Laser does have a weird kind of cast animation.
If you get
to it.
Dagon on Tinker, then you can use the Dagon to break the Lincoln, so you Dagon Hex, especially if you shift Q it, it's instant. But that's still not like a real sure thing.
Right. Now Shadow Fiend, 4,000 gold in savings following that successful team fight.
Yikes.
Lycan will go ahead and grab himself an Assault Kuros. I don't really have a huge problem with the build that Jigobilly is going for here, but there's just sort of a lack of momentum in general for eHug in this game. They haven't really been able to do too much, and now it's obvious that they can't just take a straight-on team fight, so their best bet is just for a little bit of the Rat Doter.
This is the farm on so many of these heroes is incredible. Like, very rarely do you see this many heroes with such high GPM. Like, SF is 730 GPM, Ember's 560, 500 for the Lycan, 470 for Tinker.
Jesus.
Normally, if it's like a 4 Protect 1, you'll have one hero like around 500, 600, but to have 4 heroes around 500 plus is insane.
Yeah, even just 730 on Shadow Fiend. That's an
Yo,
exceptionally high GPM
Yeah.
for 29 minutes. You know, and maybe you see that at the end of a game after they've cleared out the entire base, you get all that extra gold at the end, but this is still in the thick of it. That's really impressive for him.
We'll see what CNB look to do now. They're the ones in clear control of this game. It's still tricky to end things. They can look to just keep on spamming, pushing out these lanes. Tier 3 tower is down mid if they want to go for Abraxas, and with Aegis still on their side, I imagine they do try and push, and it looks like Satanic completed through the SF.
And Pandago near the secret shop. Cake's nearby as well. He's working towards that Hex. Has the ultimate orb up, but still not really too close to being on the money. Shadow Fiend's going to walk right into him. Cakes, he will do the panic phase shift. It'll be enough to keep him alive for now.
We may see
Fire
this
Remnant forward.
Vengeful Spirit go down. Got the Searing Chain. Pandago's dead.
See you later, Pandago. And now around the backside,
Ice Blast
Batrider.
missed too. That's a big problem.
They're looking for this Lycan. They'll find him.
He's got
Shapeshift
no
down
ulti.
for another 10 seconds. What did he use it on? Fiend's Grip, Lasso.
It's a 40-second cooldown. I guess maybe like an earlier clash, or just maybe to farm,
Maybe he just
dare I
used
say
it. I don't know.
It's a really short cooldown, so you can use it freely, but he gets punished there.
Yeah.
This is Rax. This is possibly GG.
Yeah, is there a buyback on the Lycan? No. Vengeful Spirit doesn't have one. Oh, actually, she does have one, but won't burn it. And they could just move bottom right here with Lycan
think
down
they
for
do.
40 seconds.
I'd be surprised if they don't make a go for this. They've still got the Aegis, but it looks like they want to maybe go top, get the tier 2.
Okay, that's fair
Go
enough
something
as
a
well.
bit safer.
Yeah, the lane is already pushed up anyway, so they will
Yeah.
play it safe here, and maybe they'll try and take a fight in the base. Right now, Shadow Fiend 7-0-2, and Ember Spirit 7-0-4. So those two scary heroes, they have it where it counts on the side of CNB.
Yeah, they played a good game, the Brazilian squad, and they're going to look to... looks like they want to go high ground. I'm surprised they didn't just go bottom if they wanted to go high ground. At this point, Lycan's back alive, so they may back off. They've still got Aegis, though, so I don't think they necessarily need to retreat. They may be waiting for a Batrider Lasso. That's up in 3 seconds. The grip is on cooldown for 30 seconds, so if they can just sit outside the eHug base, try and find a pickoff, and then go high ground once they get another 4v5 scenario, then it's probably their best bet.
Yep. Now, 20,000 gold and experience in the favor of the Dire. Have we seen any big item progression? The Scythe device has been completed on Tinker, not that he's been able to use it to much avail. And that's really their only bit of item progression following the Assault Cuirass that Lycan grabbed Puck.
Yep.
Not any closer to that Scythe device. And now CNB will just press forward into the top tier 3 as Shadow Fiend clears up the creeps here.
Yep. And it looks like he's going to have his backup arriving soon. So,
Radiant's top
well,
tower
the Ember
is
Spirit
under
really far
attack.
back. He's got his with the Crystals. I think this is just shopping.
Yeah, I like this play here though for Shadow Fiend to move up and tank the tower, try and keep that siege creep alive as long as possible. Recognizing he has the Aegis, Satanic, and the evasion. I like that cheeky little play to get a little extra damage from the siege creep. So Aegis reclaimed in 60 seconds though. If CNB want to make it happen, they've got to do it soon.
I can't okay, SF's got Satanic here, so he's going to lifesteal back up. Actually, he's going to be ready to fight again.
And he also has 4,000 gold to play around with.
Yeah, so he almost wants to lose the Aegis just so he can get that last big item, which I imagine is going to be a Daedalus.
Probably. That would make the most sense. At this point, he's pretty tanky. There's no MKB coming out anytime soon, so that evasion will really affect or have a big impact on his effective HP. So at this point, he just needs more right-click raw damage.
Yeah. Yeah. Scotty always is okay-ish, but
Yeah.
I like the...
I mean, Scotty's
I like
good.
the Daedalus.
Yeah, that wasn't to scoff at Scotty as much as this game. I just don't think he needs that. One of the things about Scotty that makes it so good is the tankiness, as well as the damage. And I don't
They lost their courier.
think he needs it
How did
again.
their courier die back here? Lycan Wolves, I guess?
Yeah. That's the second time their courier's been picked this game.
The Lycan Wolves, he must have resummoned them, because he resummoned them once again at base, so...
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah.
They lose the Aegis now, so if they didn't want to push with Aegis, they probably don't want to push without it, which means we may see them just wait for the next Roshan respawn.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if they really need the Aegis to try and force a fight. Like, they can't just brute force their way in, but
Yeah.
I think they can ship at this tier 3, try and bait out eHug, and then they can take a fight after that. Like, now that they see the Lycan ult has been used, as you mentioned, not the longest cooldown, but if they can catch him in that small interim period, that will be an easy, easy kill. Jigglebilly pressing very far out right here. He does have a TP scroll, but I'm not really sure what he was thinking. He'll take a Fiend's Grip. In comes some dire ports.
Tinker's going to shop as well. He may just pay for this one with his life. They lose Tinker and Lycan.
Wow!
Well, Bane's going to die, but if these heroes don't have buyback, it's GG.
And meanwhile, Puck is still harassed back from the Venomancer, and Cakes isn't even out of the clear yet. He took a Gale. Now that Poison Sting starting to add up.
They have buyback on both those two heroes, so it's not GG yet.
Not GG yet, but still, that was...
CNB will look to force the buybacks, and best case scenario, they force the buybacks, they back off without losing anyone.
I'm just trying. I mean, why did Jigglebilly go out that far? What was the end game there? What was the plan?
I think he knows they have to take risk at this point to try and stand a chance to win the game.
But what was the ideal scenario? What was he going to do? Grab a kill on the Bane and then get out?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Top tower has
So
fallen.
Klotz will go ahead and use the ultimate. That's a kill on the Puck. Pandago. And he may survive. Nope, Shadow Fiend will get off that last auto attack. Jigglebilly just... Yeah, this Shadow Fiend, he's too big. At this point, he's just too fat. Yep.
Well
eHug
played
will
by
tap out.
CNB.
You know, CNB, I have to say, this team has made... I don't know if that first day they were just not realizing the gravity of Starladder or what.
Yeah.
But that first day, it's like watching a different team now. They were on point this game. There were very few like strange item choices. Everything was pretty predictable, straightforward, good farming. Day one, it was like they were all running around. One of them DCs, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's just play 4v5." It was literally a completely different team, and that's not a flame as much as a compliment. I'm glad to see that they've gotten it together and they're looking good.
Yeah, this is a pretty good win against the team eHug, who don't have Ryuboris, and I mean, I talk about Jigglebilly being one of their better players, but Ryuboris as well as the solo mid, I think, is also another standout player. So it's not really the complete eHug team, but for eHug, this is a worry. They're 0-3 now. Top 4 teams advance to the playoffs, and then the winner of the playoffs goes to the LAN finals. And right now, I don't think eHug are going to make it into that top 4.
Let's actually take a gander at the grid once again and see sort of what their chances are. So CNB now, they'll be 1-2. Dignitas are still 0-2. You're right. I mean, eHug are in trouble. You look at EG, they'll probably make it top 4. Liquid, they're 2-0. They're in a pretty good place. Team Dog, it's hard to say. They're that team that they are serious and
they lost to EG, so it's like you lose. That's a team you're expected to lose.
Yeah,
to.
so we'll see. But we're behind schedule, guys.
Team Dog are up next.
Yeah,
so.
this next game is already in the lobby. They're waiting for us to hop in. So we'll take a short break, and then we'll be back with Team Dog versus Osiris.